Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Addie. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to save money and still have fun in life, because you can, and I feel like people have been talking about budgeting recently, and it seems like you have to literally take everything out of your life, like no more Netflix, no more eating out, no more doing anything. And I feel like you can still save but still do some of those things. Like maybe you have to do them in moderation, but you can still have a life and still have fun while saving. If you want to hear more about this or listen to me talk, then please keep watching. But first, can you please subscribe and hit the like button? All right, so I have just, what's prompted me to make this video is that I was just talking to somebody today and they were asking me how do you do this? Because how do you afford it? And I'm like, well, I save. Well, how can you save and still do things? I'm just so tired of that argument that I wanted to film this video, because it's just so, if you have a little bit of discipline, you can pretty much afford anything in life that you want if you really want it. So first thing you need to do is create a goal. If you don't have a goal, then you have nothing to meet and you have nothing to work towards. So you have to have a goal if you want to achieve something, or if you want to have this life that doesn't completely revolve around money. So you need a short-term goal, like things that you want now or in the near future, and you need maybe a medium-term goal, but you also need a long-term goal. So you need to be thinking about retirement. You need to be thinking about if you want to buy a house, if you want to have kids, if you want to take a trip, if you want to, have an extra good Christmas, whatever it might be. You need to have goals set out for those so that you can start being intentional with your money and you can start putting your money towards things that you actually want in life, rather than spending them on whatever you may not really care about. So, for example, I hardly ever buy new clothes. It's one of those things, I like to look good and I like to have new clothes, but if I'm working towards a goal that I want more, then I don't really care about it as much. So if I have this trip to Europe planned and I need X amount of money, one of the easiest ways for me to cut money and cut spending is cutting back on clothing, because it's something that I have enough in my closet. I have enough to play with the kids. I have enough for work. I have enough to lounge around in. I have enough clothes. I don't need any more, and it doesn't give me any more joy to have that over taking a trip. So that's one easy way for me to, cut out. On the other hand, going to get coffee, that's, I feel like one of the things that people always say to cut out of your budget is coffee. And for me, I do have a coffee machine here. I do make coffee at home on a regular basis, but there are times where I'm with the kids that I just need to get out of the house. And one of the easiest things to do is go get coffee, because it's not a big expensive meal. It doesn't take too much time, but you're getting out of the house and you're enjoying something, and it's just another place to be. So coffee for me is something that makes me have fun in life and it sparks joy. So even if I'm saving for this trip, I still want to be able to have my coffee dates with my kids. So that's one place where I'm not going to cut back. So you kind of get the idea. You have to do things in moderation and cut back on things that you don't care as much about, and cut back on things you don't care as much about, and spend on the things you do care more about, things that will make you actually truly have a better life, a less stressed life, a happier life, whatever. Anyway, so before I start going on a tangent about life and money, I will just tell you the basic, easiest way that I have found to save and still live. And that is by living by the 70% rule. So that basically means when your money comes into your bank account, you take 70% of that and you live off of that 70%. The other 30% goes towards savings, and you can put it towards whichever goals you want. You can have one goal at a time, you can have 7 goals at a time, however many you want, and you can figure out how you want to split the money up to reach those goals. But you'll have 30% of your income going towards those goals every single month. Now, I mean what hits your account after taxes, after 401k, after health insurance and benefits and child support if you have that, all those deductions that come out of your paycheck already, like from your work, don't even factor that into your 70%. You're taking 70% from the actual check that you get in your bank account every month or every 2 weeks or however often you get paid. And you're living on that 70%. So that 70% goes towards your mortgage or your rent, your utilities, all your bills, your debt payoff that you must do, like your car payments and your house payments and that sort of thing. Any of your extracurriculars that you can't live without, your kids' expenses, your groceries, all those things, your necessity must live on every month goes to that 70%. The other 30% goes towards your savings. Now, when you first kind of like start this, the one thing you're gonna have to be able to even do this at all is you have to make a budget. If you don't have a budget, then you don't know how much money you're actually spending a month, and it might be like 120% of your paycheck, and which means that you're financing on credit cards the other like 20% of your life already, in which case this is not going to work. You can't just take 30% of your income and put it towards savings without knowing how much you actually have. So you need to make a budget, and you need to make sure you have an idea of where each dollar is going and how much you actually need in that 70%. Because for some people, you're nowhere close to living on 70%. Some people are living on 80, 90, 100% of their money. And so if that's you, you need to start slow and start where's going to fit for you. So maybe start at 80-20 and you're living off 80% and you're saving only 20 until you can get to a place where you feel like you can live 70-30. And another thing I'd recommend is that saving, that 30% of savings, I would recommend taking some of that and putting it towards an emergency fund. Like say in the beginning you do 10% of that and put it towards an emergency fund until you have enough of an emergency fund that you feel pretty confident that like if things were to happen or you were to lose your job, you could still like feel comfortable in that emergency fund that you have. Once you have that built up, then you can put it all towards your goals. But anyway, the point is that you want to make a budget, you want to know where your money is going, you want to be intentional about your money, and you want to make a plan for your money. So as I mentioned, like yes, that might mean sacrificing on some things, and it might not mean sacrificing on other things for you. But the goal is to focus on what is most important so that you can get to those goals that you really want to do. Now, I'll just like give you a quick example on how this would work. So say your take home after all the deductions is $3,000 a month. I'll just use that because it's a nice pretty number. You have $3,000 a month. 70% of that is going to go towards your everyday bills and the other 30% towards savings. So that 30% of savings would be $900 a month. That means if you want to take a trip and that trip's going to cost you $3,000, it's only going to take you about 4 months to save for that, and you'll still have some left over. That means under a year, you will have $10,000 to do whatever you want with. Down payment on a house, buy a car, save for retirement, like whatever it is. You'll have, hi, how you doing? So as you can see, it's pretty easy to actually save a substantial amount of money if you are just disciplined and using the 70% rule. Now, did you know that you can also automate your checking account? So you can set up a rule in your checking account. I guess it depends on who your bank is, but if you go to online banking, you can set up a rule that automatically will transfer that 30% to your saving account. And that will just help you stay disciplined about your money and help you save and reach those goals faster. Guys, you can't look at budgeting as a loss in your quality of life. You just have to be intentional about your money. And if you look at it that way, then you're never going to be able to save and you're never going to be able to reach your goals. Now, say things like going out to eat or going for coffee is one of those things that you want to cut back on. They're the things you don't care about as much. Then you have to find ways to hang out with your friends or your loved ones in different ways. So if they're always inviting you out and you always have to say no, try not saying no completely. So just be like, oh, I can't meet you for lunch, but why don't you come over later and we'll play euchre? Why don't you come over and, hang out with me and the kids? You can become the host. You can be the person who always comes up with things to do, because there are so many free, fun things to do. Like check your city websites. There's always like a list of events that are free. Like you just have to find them. All right, well, I hope that has been beneficial to you. I hope there's some ideas in there on how to afford more in your life and how to have a good life while saving to meet your goals. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time.